Hey, good evening. David Michael Smingy here, doctor and wife Britta. Um, well, I appreciate all of you, and I thank you for your patience and waiting for me. And I appreciate response videos I get to, and people saying it's great that you share your life, and I'm grateful to have people to share our life with. Um, yeah, so in the way of updates, Britta did really well with her first round of chemotherapy. So we're doing chemotherapy alone. Again, deciding to do that because radiation plus chemo, although the standard of care and the thing to do, I think with her tumor in particular, we have fortunately the option to kind of delay radiation and potentially the long-term side effects of that. So we opted to do chemotherapy alone. Again, chemotherapy being procarbazine P, CCNU C, and then vincristine V or PCV chemotherapy. Um, Chemotherapy regimen designed in like the 60s and 70s. Um, but still used today for brain tumor treatment. In contrast to the more modern TMZ, kind of a single agent chemotherapy regimen. So, opted to do PCV chemotherapy alone, and she did that for successfully about 4 weeks. About 3 weeks ago, she finished her last dose of it. So it was CCNU taken by mouth once during the cycle to start it, and then procarbazine days 8 through, oh my gosh, 22 ish, um, where she's on a special diet, again by mouth, for that medication. And she also took vincristine, which is a medication given IV twice per cycle on days 8 and 22-ish, so finishing, or no, 8 and 29. So essentially, week 1, take CCNU once, week 2, take vincristine by IV, and then procarbazine the rest of it. Week 3, take more procarbazine, and then week 4, finish that off with vincristine. So Britta did really well with it. I think she felt nauseated with it and had some jaw pain when she got the vincristine, um, which is a somewhat unreported side effect, but it's a side effect that people get. And went off of it for 3 weeks. We celebrated it with cheese and wine with friends of ours. It was great. Two things she couldn't have on the diet, and then we followed up at U of M about a week or so ago, and I thought we'd be getting a scan because that was kind of the running plan to get a scan and see how the tumor responded, or if it responded. It definitely responded to um, the chemotherapy, but we ended up not getting a scan. I think what happened is they are just basically delaying her scan until the end of her next cycle, so about 7 to 8 weeks from now. So we were told then, well, Britta will start her next cycle on Christmas. Would be the next time we'd start her chemotherapy, which was yesterday. Merry Christmas, by the way. And I was anticipating doing kind of a chemo and Christmas thought sort of process with that, but her chemotherapy didn't come in the mail, so we're still not on her second dose of our second round of chemo yet. We will likely probably start that hopefully soon. We're going to find out. Her chemotherapy drugs are probably in the mail somewhere, and I hope they went to the right person. It'd be a terrible Christmas present to get. So, hoping that it shows up and we can start our next cycle soon. We'll probably start it on Wednesday, just because Wednesdays are convenient and it's easy to remember when the cycle started and when to take medications. And then Britta will probably continue getting labs every week or so for that. Now, one modification to the chemotherapy regimen. So Britta had that jaw pain with vincristine, and that can be a sign of neuropathy or nerve damage. So because vincristine probably doesn't add much to her overall chemotherapy regimen, the big hitters are probably the CCNU first, followed by the procarbazine. We decided to remove the CCNU from regimen, so that saves us 2 drives to U of M throughout a cycle and 2 IV medications. So essentially all of her chemotherapy is oral, which is wonderful. If you ever have a friend who has a port for chemotherapy, you can probably pray for them. It's hard to have that, and it's annoying, and Britta doesn't need one, so praise God for that. So Britta will do essentially the rest of her chemotherapy will be oral, either by procarbazine CCNU, potentially TMZ, but probably just PC the rest of her cycles, and she's got 5 more to go. So hopefully starting that one soon. Yeah, interesting to delete vincristine. I have different thoughts on that, but it seems appropriate to do. There's some reports of kind of permanent nerve damage with vincristine, and because it doesn't really have much, the thought is just just get rid of it and don't risk the permanent damage, which, in a way I kind of agree with too. It's something that we kind of did with the radiation for now that we're holding off on. So that's kind of where we're at in terms of updates. So Britta's starting her next cycle soon. You can pray for that. Getting a scan of her brain probably 7 to 8 weeks from now. You can pray that Britta has an excellent objective response to it. Certainly subjectively, I think Britta's been really active and good spirited, and I think it's partly from prayer and partly from chemo, and I think subjectively Britta's doing really well. I just pray that objectively she'll be doing well too. Pray for our kid. It's his second Christmas yesterday. He got blocks from his grandparents and from his uncle, and lots of other family members giving him gifts too. Grateful for all of that, and to celebrate Christmas in a way on the weekend. And then we just had Christmas with friends who were here because we thought we were starting chemo, but never came. So, yeah. And then you can pray for. There's a lot of people out there with brain tumors and other cancers too. I've got a friend who has a glioblastoma multiforme. Certainly praying for her as well, and in contact with her. And essentially same age as Britta, just GBM instead of an oligo. It's incredible to have two at the same time in a friend circle. They're pretty rare. And then also a friend of mine, Steve Noblet, has a non-cutaneous melanoma, and he's had a remarkable story that is worth reading. And he is a great writer, so I'll post that in a link below too. And he's responded to a melanoma, stage 4 brain mets, and it gives me a lot of hope, and I hope he continues to do well too. Yeah, I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for my work too that's been supportive. They give me a lot of time off around the vacation time, and I've been enjoying that. And I pray for my patients as well. They've been supportive of me and Britta, and I'm just grateful for all the support. So thank you for being part of that. Thanks for listening. Hope you had a Merry Christmas and enjoy the New Year.